All right, we're going to do a small recap of what I was thinking at the beginning of the week, see where I was wrong, and see where I won, and see what I'm thinking for next week. So this big red candle on the S&P is where we started last week. I noted that I was not confident because that's a small bearish symbol and kind of gave me a little unease. So my confidence level was about 50. I wasn't scared, but I wasn't confident in any sort of bullish move. Clearly, we went a little bullish this week. If we zoom in, we could see kind of how we went here, but we still don't have a higher high. We haven't reclaimed this. So again, my confidence going into next week is about 50, maybe 60. Obviously, there is some buying and less fear than, was expected. So I think that's probably a good sign. I noted I had already sold my AMD. I sold somewhere around here. After earnings, had kind of a weird one. Went all the way down here. It looks like my resistance and support are actually doing pretty well. This was an opportunity if you were feeling bullish and or risky that you could have rebought up to here. That would have been a good trade, but I have a 9 to 5, so I'm not as active as some traders are, and that's okay. I already made some profit there. I'm going to pull up my win of the week and why I was confident in this specific trade. So BMNR, so this is kind of a Tom Lee Ethereum stock. I like Ethereum. It has burned me sometimes, but it's doing well right now. But essentially, just looking at the stock, this is a day candle sheet here. But essentially, we had this bearish channel here, and as we got up to here, we were pushing to break that trend. And hell yeah, did we get it on Friday. So I bought somewhere around here when it was starting to break it. Still holding right now. We'll see what next week brings, but obviously volume really high. This is a volatile stock, obviously, so got to be careful, a little bit more active on this one. If you look at the week, I mean, that's a little bit wonkier, to be honest. On the week, we do have this little red, but it could be forming a green here and back up. So, again, I'm doing pretty well on this one. But yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious on this one. Because we're at the top of the Bollinger Band. It's starting to expand. We'll see what that means. If it is expanding, obviously that means more volatility. So in a volatile nature, you can make money, but you can lose it just as quick. But right now, so this market structure break and order block did form a line, which means they confirm that this is a bottom. So now we're going to be forming a new line up. As I mentioned last time, these indicators just show you what happened, not really. They don't predict what's going to happen. So yeah, that line doesn't form until it's going to hit like a top and then break down, and then that's when you're going to get this line. So again, these tools help, but it's up to us to make decisions. I didn't buy a lot of this stock. I just liked the setup. Anytime I see a trend change, I don't chase, but I will try and get in on a momentum transfer. And then if it confirms, I wouldn't keep buying on the way up because that's what I identify as chasing. If I was a little bit more riskier, I could have bought a lot more and then kind of sold on the way up. But I'm riding this one out next week. Hopefully we can get another volatile God candle like that. That would be freaking awesome. Let's see. So I'd kind of noticed on the VIX, if I remember correctly, I had noticed, we had this little pump, but then we had, over the weekend, the futures were going down. So I think that was a good sign for a positive week, which kind of missed out on as far as like my confidence level. Again, it's going down and markets are going up. I think that's a good sign overall. So yeah, let's see. Again, looks the same on the VIX. I mean, yeah, That looks pretty good to me. I think we will at least challenge that top of that red candle in the S&P, which means there's a little bit more room up. All right, we had a pullback up on Bitcoin. Nothing too scary here. Could see like a little bull flag here and go back up. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Sitting on the EMA, SMA. Um, yeah, I'd say overall nothing too scary here. There's not much range, but I think positivity still there. Yeah, Ethereum is doing some awesome things right now. Just made another all-time high. So you could see a pullback from the all-time high, but the fact that it was able to finally break this resistance, I think that's a good sign for one BMR, but also for Ethereum and possibly altcoins. Um, alt season has been pretty quiet outside of the initial push. So could be looking to get in some XRP or some other things as well. Here's I made this incorrectly last week, so I saw, everybody was saying Apple's getting out of the doghouse, as I said last week, and then we had this big red candle, and I was like, oh, that's not really a confident move right there for me to jump in. And then, one thing I should have noted was there was news that Tim Cook was going to go speak in front of the White House talking about investment in America, which honestly it's kind of fluff news, but it's still an indicator of people chasing some sort of movement. And hell yeah, it did. Yeah, it's a $20 move right there, or $24 move. Missed out on that. We'll see if it continues to go in an uptrend. I may take a small position, but otherwise, I would just say I missed that one. And it's okay to miss sometimes. I'm still positive on the week, so no big deal there. Nvidia just doing Nvidia things. It is kind of going into the upper echelon of this fib marker here, so we shall see if it's going to try and test back before it goes up, but it does look like it's trying to. You can see, yeah, right at that line, so that's interesting. Like I said, technical analysis and indicators don't do everything, but trading markets is a psychological game more than anything. So levels are psychological for a lot of people. Not to mention people put stop losses and start to put contracts on things, and that can have a factor in price action. Palantir just continues to dominate. I would love to get back in. Had a great week. Um, it's just hard to buy in this area. Like that, that's a good hold if you already had it, but that's a bold move to buy now. Um, yeah, right here was a pretty good indicator of a parabolic stock of when you could have bought. This right here, that's kind of a neutral candle because it's like they call it like a spinning top, I guess. So kind of unsure, like you basically went all the way down here, but you couldn't make it back up to here. You got in the middle. But I mean, so far the trend is it's bounced off the EMA, SMA. So I don't know why I didn't buy here. But anyways, I'm not buying here, but I am bullish on the stock, obviously, so is the rest of the market. Here's one I have. This one is not a super clean setup. Bounced off the Bollinger Band, back to the EMA, SMA. I did reinvest a little bit. I would like to see it this week, try and go in this area. If we go in that area, maybe we can make another all-time high, make a push. This was the stock I said I'm longing because it broke the trend. And even though we had that red candle last week, I actually bought back in, and here we go. It's back to almost where it was. I think this is going to continue upward, so nothing crazy there. Yep, and as I mentioned, this one's just following the market, so I may find if I see something weak in the S&P, I may find a way to take some profit and then find a pullback to reinvest in. I think this week is going to tell us if we're about to go euphoric and crazy and melt up, or if we're gonna have a healthy pullback. Let's see what else. Yeah, that was a pretty good end of the week there for Kratos. Here, I don't think I mean, just hindsight, I don't think I would have been confident to buy here. Yeah, again, just bounced off the median here. Again, if I was a little bit more active and once I get more experience again and some more confidence, I can make some of these trades. But yeah, I don't see anything negative. Just again, I don't like to chase, and I would call this a chase trade at the moment. And yeah, that's pretty much this week. All right, I think I'm gonna keep this template of little tips and tricks, lessons at the end of the video. Sometimes I'll talk, sometimes I won't. I also didn't use music this week. I need to go buy a new tone. All right, so my confidence level as getting back into trading is around 50 to 60. So until I start getting more experience and win some trades and get consistent, my lesson this week was share size should match confidence. So I haven't really been buying over 100 shares, and sometimes I even go as small as 50. And once I get more confidence, I can definitely, try and go a little bit stronger to make more profits and min max, But right now, I am sticking with caution and taking what profits I am making. Even though I have 10 years experience, I don't have experience in this current market. And, over time, markets change as far as like the psychological and environment and the behavior. So it's important to re-evaluate, come up with new methods of winning. The market's always changing, and you can't always use the same tactic every time, outside of a few. Um, Again, TA does not predict anything. It only tells you what's happened because it's price action. So I was wrong on some things last week going into this week. I have been getting a lot of YouTube finance on my suggestions, and I've watched a lot of them. And boy, and it's ironic that I'm saying this being on YouTube, but it's a hot, toxic mess. You either have everything is perfect and we're going on a bull run, or doom and gloom, everything's about to crash 1929. I feel like it's always like that, and I think both parties have good arguments, but one of them is one of them has to be wrong, and you shouldn't let them make decisions for you. I do get good stock ideas from them, but one lesson I've learned over 10 years is sometimes, you know if these people are legit and they have the money they say they have, sometimes they are using their audience as liquidity. And what I mean by that is, like, if I put $100,000 into a $3 stock and I say, man, it's going to go to 20 in a month or so, well, they may not have any reason for that, and they're just hyping it, and they pull in viewers to go put money in there. Well, when money goes in, the stock goes up, and then they don't need a lot of movement to take profit. And once they do, you become liquidity and bag holder. So just be careful of who you listen to, or maybe not necessarily who you listen to, but who you make decisions based off of. Like, you should be doing that on your own, and you should be doing your own analysis and having your own thoughts. Some signs are easier than others. I think that has kind of been the story of the journey so far. Obviously, I haven't been able to tell some predictions based on the candlesticks. And then the BMNR, that was just obvious. Like, it broke the trend. Like, I'm in. That was the same with AMD. And yeah, those are easy to tell. And stay away from euphoria and doom. I'm never going to be a perma bull or perma bear or go into hysteria on this channel. That is not the intent here. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'll see if I can come up with new picks tomorrow into the week. But right now I'm running on BMNR and the other few that I showed last. All right, and lastly, here's an update to what I'm currently in. If it's green, it means it's realized gain or loss, and then black is just where I'm at. I did increase my SoFi, um, my BBAI. I think my Remix is actually 125, not 75. I forgot to update that. Um, Unfortunately, the platform I use doesn't exactly tell you what price I bought at, and I have to do a little bit more work to figure that out. So I don't know where I bought BMNR at, but I have 100, and there's my current unrealized. I did actually buy some Palantir, but I'm buying really small. I think, my gut instinct tells me, over the next couple of years, they could easily be 1,000. So I'm just kind of nibbling here and there. I don't know why it says bought at 1.8. I may have bought at 186, but I think that's just telling me the current price. Anyways, so this is about a month's worth of work. Um, so sitting around 3,000. Um, Obviously, for my goal, that's a good start, but I want to do more than that and on a regular weekly basis, if not a monthly basis. Um, this show or this channel was going to be called Road to 100 because my goal is to 100% my portfolio either by the end of the year or within a year. I won't tell you how much my portfolio is. However, I will kind of start putting my percentages. I think I'm sitting at 3 or 4% right now. Anyways, feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment.